So I consider it as a novice. So let's proceed. So we have two more applications to onboard, right? One is a Prism application, another one is a LDAP application. So as I told you in the beginning, every application would be a new learning for you. So that these last two applications that we are not going to onboard them manually, but we will be onboarding via an XML file. Okay. So in your real time, there would be the cases like you were given some 10 applications to onboard. Okay. So 10 delimited file applications, let us suppose. So 10 applications have a similar kind of a format. Okay, similar kind of in tables or data. Nothing much customizations is needed. So rather onboarding each and every application manually, we have an approach like create one application, take that application as a reference, copy that application into the XML into the notepad, make some minor modifications, whatever are being needed for the next application, and then either save that application and import that application XML into Sailpoint. So that is one method. Other method is just in the notepad only copy that, do the changes, copy the content and paste as it is in the debug page. Our application would be getting created. Okay. So these are the two ways that we can just get the new application via an XML format. So how we can do that? For example, we have a track application. So go to the debug pages over from here. So search for application object. So you can see this particular application. And one more advantage is like when I want to like I have onboarded the track application now. So you guys did not onboard the track application. Okay. So if I want to make your time saved, or if I wanted, if I ask you to test this track application and let me know the update. So as of now, you don't have the track application data. Okay. So what you're supposed to do, you need to create that application, giving the data on like filling all the metadata, doing configuring the schema, previewing it, writing a rule if needed, go to the correlation, do the correlation. Next, go to the task, create a task, and then execute it. Then you will be getting the result. Okay. So rather, if I can share you this track XML file as an XML file to you, as a physical file to you, which contains the application, which contains the rule, and which contains the task definition also. So you don't need to do anything. Just go ahead, do a test connection. If it's successful, go to the task. Already the task got created, right? Just run the task. So those are the things that you can just simply do it to get the application onboarded into Sailpoint. Okay. Similar way, you can see this track application, right? So what I can just do it. So I can just copy this entire application, putting it in a notepad like this. Okay. And so whenever you are making any kind of changes, you need to make sure this IDs, created date, and this modified timestamp should not be present. And if you see here, this created timestamp, this is not in a human readable format. So basically, it's a Unix time format. So we can convert this. Let me just explain. It's out of this topic only. I'm just deviating for a while. So open in a browser. In the browser, just type epoch converter. You can see epoch converter, Unix timestamp converter. Click on it. So you can see here, paste it over here and click on timestamp to human date. So you can see Sunday, April 10th. Okay. So this is how the timestamp will be converted to a human readable timestamp. Same way the modified timestamp also you can just put it over here. ID is the column which will generate every time for the Sailpoint only. So whenever you create a new file or new data, it will automatically generate a new ID. So what I was doing it, so I was just making the changes, right? So let me just make these changes, remove this ID, created, modified timestamps like this, and also this created one. So you can see this particular application as a header, right? Okay, this header will be common for the XMLs. Every XML you should be seeing a header over here. Okay, remember that. And also just scroll down a bit. So here also we have IDs, right? So either you can completely remove the IDs or else just in the content, ID content, you can remove this data. So that is also fine. So any of the way you can just do it. What else here? Okay, here also. Okay, so this is the application data. In this application XML, we don't see a rule. Okay, so how we can get the rule? Again, go to the Sailpoint, close this, search for the object type rule. Now you got the rule. So check for the correlation rule that we have written. This is the rule. So now you don't need to copy this particular header. Why? Because the header already present in the application XML. So we don't need to copy that. From the third line, copy till the end where the rule is getting ended. So here rule is getting started over here and rule is getting ended over here. So copy it, put it in a notepad now. After this application where it has been ended. Paste it. So rule also we got it. So in this rule also you can just remove this creation ID columns. Then the last thing that is left over is the tasks. Okay, so we can run the tasks as well. So let me just go to the notepad. Sorry, go to the Sailpoint task definition. So track account aggregation, same way. Task definition. Put it here. Okay, this also I'm just removing it. Done. Here also. Okay, this is the data that we have it. Now what I can just do, I can just save this data, drag.xml like this, put it at somewhere, and I can send this particular XML file to you guys. Just you need to import it. Okay, so you will be going to global settings, import from file, browse it, and import this particular file into Sailpoint. And this application will be loaded. Its rule will be loaded, and also the task definition also would be loaded. So this is how the data you can just grab it rather creating it manually. Okay, so that is the purpose. So by taking a reference of this application, we can do the minor changes. For example, for Prism application, we need to change this query, right? So select start from users, and that Prism application has an account schema and group schema also, right? So those data we need to change it, and also the connectivity details. So here we have somewhere connectivity details. So username, password, test connections equal. So in the place of a track, we will be choosing the Prism over here. So these kind of a modifications that we are supposed to do, and we can create a Prism application taking a reference of another application, and we can import that application to Sailpoint. So we already created the Prism application as well as the LDAP application. So let me just onboard them. So how do you onboard? Import them into Sailpoint. Go to the settings, global settings, import from file, browse it, implementer training, config, prism.xml. Now, if I click on import, you will be able to see what are the objects that are getting imported. See, in that particular XML, we have an application XML. We had 3 rules. One is provision rule, build map rule, and the other one is a correlation rule. And the next is the 2 tasks, aggregate prism and aggregate prism groups. So this is the data that we have it. So I'm just clicking on import another file. So we have an LDAP application also. So go to config LDAP, ldap.xml. So by this application XML file, we had onboarded an LDAP application, two task definitions. One is aggregate LDAP and aggregate LDAP groups, and one LDAP configuration. This is a manual correlation config, not by a rule. So you can click on done. Now go to the application. So first thing, once you have imported it, you need to go to the application, check the test connection, whether it's successful or not. If it is not successful, you cannot run the aggregation. The test connection. So this is how the test connection goes like. Okay, test connection is successful. Now go ahead and run the task. Right click. So you can see already the Prism application aggregation task is also being configured. So just right click on the task, execute in background. Same thing you are supposed to do it. Right click on the Prism groups task, execute in background. Check the results. So see, only two identities were there, right? Prism admin and what else? Walter Henderson account. Those two only are present. So that is being mentioned over here. Okay, here the data is not visible, but we had only two accounts. One is a Prism admin, as well as another one is a Walter Henderson account. So one identity got correlated, another one did not get correlated. So that is the data mentioned here. Now coming to the groups. So you can see, right? Three groups or three objects got successfully scanned. That is the intention. Now let's look at the LDAP application. So LDAP application, first we need to do a test connection. So test connection would be getting failed. Why? Because LDAP is a server, right? Just like the Tomcat server, we need to first start it and then only we will be able to open the environment or work upon the environment. So we need to start the LDAP server. So LDAP server I have already installed in this particular virtual machine. So I just need to open the terminal and just type a command called start LDAP. Click on enter. So this is been loaded. Now just do a test connection now. See, test connection is successful. And now you can just save the application. So before that, just check the schema also. So as I told you, right, the schema is predefined. If you open any blank application also, this data would be as it is. Let me just show you that as well. So I'm just saving this application for now. Just go to a normal new application, add new application. Select the open LDAP. Direct, this is the connector that we are using for this LDAP application. Go to configuration, schema. You can see here already the schema is pre-configured. So in the previous theoretical session I explained, right, LDAP and Active Directory, the schema is predefined in Sailpoint. Okay. And in the settings, what we are going to do, we are just need to fill the username, password, host name. Rest all the three details remain the same. So this is how we need to understand by a normal application. And if you just go to the rules also, we don't see any connector rules. Okay. So we don't see any connector rules mentioned over here. That also you can just observe it. Next thing. So we are done with this, right? Now go ahead to set up and task. We need to run the task for the LDAP application, as well as we need to run the task for the LDAP group aggregation. So right click on LDAP, aggregate LDAP, execute in background. aggregate LDAP groups, execute in background. While these are getting running, if you want to see the target system, just like for database, we open the terminal and just we have seen the target system data, right? So for LDAP also we have a target system data. So you can see on your desktop you have an LDAP browser. So that is the Apache Directory Studio. Open that. Click on this, double click on this training. That is the connection, so what file that we are just using. So you can see these things will be open. DC equal to training, DC equal to Sailpoint, and DC equal to com. Open it. You can see CN equal to manager, OU equal to groups, and OU equal to people. So under OU equal to people, you have this particular data. Okay, all the user data you can see here. Next, under OU equal to groups, you have two entitlements. One is manager's entitlement, other one is a user's entitlement. So don't go with the naming convention, guys. But these are the two entitlements that are present in this particular LDAP connection. So you just need to understand in that way. For example, for one entitlement users, you can see the CN equal to Aaron Nicholas. So Aaron Nicholas only the person having an account or access in the user's entitlement. So like this, you need to understand for this LDAP connectivity details. And also, as I told you that LDAP will be having their own usernames and their own passwords. So you can see the data over here. So CN users, description, object class over here, unique member. Let me open any identity, then you will be seeing their password. See user password. So password is the password of this particular username. So Aaron Nicholas, Aaron.Nicholas is the username. So that is called as a CN, the common name, and password PAWSWORD. So that is the password for this particular application. So that is how you need to understand the LDAP connectivity details.